Hey, what's up? My name is Emma. This is my channel, Red Pork Pad Thai, and today we are painting a Animal Crossing watercolor. We are doing a sort of real-time paint with me with some relaxing Animal Crossing music and a little bit of my thoughts while I'm painting interspersed in. So, without further ado, let's not take up too much of your time and just sit down and relax, bust out your paints and pens, and just come along for a relaxing hour with me. I've given him the kind of like short hair, short little spiky hair in gray, and I went into the custom designs and gave him like little eyebrows because I think that's really cute. And the reference that I'm using, he's doing the apologetic bow, which I think is super duper cute. Hopefully I can complete this quickly because I'm already running out of daylight, as I tend to do. I do prefer painting in the evening, but the lighting is awful, so I need to learn to get started a little bit earlier in the day. The reference that I'm using is very much, I want to say it was taken around like 5 or 6 p.m., so it's got kind of this dusky, sort of warm color palette, and the sky is a bit purple. It's almost like a warm purple. So I think I'm going to start with my dusky mauve. I'm just gonna go and lay that in. Back. Let's see. I think I've mentioned it before, but I prefer thinner watercolors because I do like to build them up a bit more. And I find that the Prima watercolors aren't necessarily built for that. I think they tend to be a bit more opaque, which I sometimes struggle with. So we'll see how much of a quote-unquote watercolor effect I can get here. Well, the paint's stretching pretty far, which is nice. So it's pretty pigmented, which is a good sign. If I can even like read my own drawing here. I lifted it with a kneaded eraser. I lifted most of the sketch, and it's just dark enough in here that I can't quite see what I'm doing. So you may see me switch at some point to a different lighting setup. I'll go bust my studio lights out so I can actually see what I'm doing. Because I'm a ding-a-ling and didn't set it up to begin with because I just wanted to sit down and paint. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just want to sit down and paint. Oh, I should have masked out those bubbles. I did not prepare. I just get excited. I just want to sit down and paint. I like digital stuff better because I can always kind of go back and start over from where I was working. Watercolor doesn't work like that. I think we need to make it a bit darker, because in naturalistic horizons it's usually a bit lighter, closer to the horizon, because all of that light that's coming through the ozone, you're kind of seeing it more at an angle, so you're seeing more of it at once. Something to do with refraction. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. That. A bit warmer. I almost want to see a little bit of this pink. Like really dilute it. A bit more than that. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to throw my reference up. I think I probably will. Just so you guys can kind of see what I'm trying to replicate here. And these are fun. It's kind of more like a study and less like a really focused painting. A little bit of that warm orange, because it seems to be a bit warmer over here. To that. In my reference, you can see a little bit of the cliff there on the left. But there's so little space there on my canvas, I don't want to be distracted by another like large object over there. So I think I'm going to go and paint my horizon all the way down. So just take a little bit more of my pink. Kind of same purpley kind of mauve color here along the beach, except quite a bit lighter. Over here at least. And there's a bit of sunlight coming through, kind of right behind the character. So we'll try to keep that super duper light. Just kind of try to subtly stain it. That's pretty good. Did that. It's already too dark in here for me to paint effectively, so I'm gonna go switch my lighting setup real quick and I will be right back. Okay, so that is much better. I can actually, in fact it may be a little bit too bright. There's quite a bit of sheen from the paint still being wet, but I can actually see what I'm doing now, so improvement. Alrighty. Next, I think I'm gonna start with kind of like a warmer layer. This kind of creamy yellow. And then I think I'm going to use the terracotta on top of that. Use a little bit of this orange. So now we just want a really light, kind of creamy yellow. Don't want it to be too warm, although it is quite a bit warmer. We don't want it to be too cool either. Thin that out. It should be a smidge warmer. Yeah, now we're getting into the territory. One of the ways that I kind of like to thin out my paint is that whatever amount of pigment or paint I have on the brush, I'll start a new spot, kind of down a ways a little bit on my palette. And then water that down from there, so I'm not having to add just heaps and gobs of paint just to get kind of closer to the color that I'm looking for. That's lovely. I like that. I like that. I may just go ahead and cover the whole beach in this color, and then I will come back and cover that with the terracotta. I did do a thumbnail painting of this already when I was trying out the vintage watercolor set. And yeah, that's kind of where I figured out that I didn't have enough dark values. Like, even though this is kind of like a really light pastel painting, I still wanted to have a bit of value contrast overall, so I may have gotten the lights too direct and reflecting off the wet paint quite a bit. Let's see. That it's staying pretty wet. I like that it doesn't dry too fast. So it means you're a lot less likely to get that kind of less desirable stacked paint look. Darker through here. I kind of want to add a bit of this terracotta. It looks, it looks so, ooh, it looks so light in the pan. Once you paint it, it actually is quite a bit darker than you expect. I kind of want this portion of the beach to actually look kind of sand colored. Just dab that in. There's definitely a directional light going on here. It's kind of one of those cool features of Animal Crossing that I think they did really well is, like I've definitely noticed in April, April showers, that it's been raining a lot more on my island, which if you're trying to breed flowers, this is just the time to do it, especially if flowers cover a considerable amount of your island, because then the rainwater will water them for you, and you don't have to use up materials to make a bajillion watering cans to water all your flowers. And it also makes sure, the rain is indiscriminate and it will water all of your flowers, whereas it's really easy to accidentally miss some flowers if you're just kind of watering in your fields. Let's see. A little bit more of that yellow. We're just going to blend that out a bit more. Like that. Actually, while I have this yellow color, I'm going to add a bit more of the yellow to it. Definitely a bit more of the orange. Go and paint the base for the tree as well. The coconut tree. Oh boy, that is very orange. But you know what? It's very orange in game. So we're going with it. And this is something that when we layer the paint over it, it won't look quite as highlightery. Because it's got a little bit of a highlighter orange, at least to my eye here. Perhaps when it dries out it'll give us more of a creamy orange color and less nuclear orange. Those in. I think it's kind of silly on those your daily Nook Miles tasks that it always wants you to plant a tree or something, or sometimes it'll specifically ask you to plant coconuts or this, that, or the other, and it's I don't have any more space on my island for that. I have a considerable sized orchard already. I think I moved them all the other day so that I could kind of arrange them around a park. So instead of being in lines, they're kind of around the edge of my park. And I had 50 of them of various different, types of fruit. So I don't think I'm hurting for trees on my island. So I was surprised that it kept asking me to plant some more trees. And I was like, no, you know what? I think I have enough trees. Thank you. Alrighty, I think I'm going to use a little bit of soft lilac and a little bit of the mauve that I have left over. And again, another one that it looks so warm and creamy, but once you actually swatch it, it's quite a bit cooler than you're expecting. And quite a bit darker too, actually. So I've already got this kind of nice spot right here. some light behind the clouds. That's good. It blends in with the darker sky, it gets a little bit lighter up here. It's a little bit less sharp. Behind the tree as well. Just kind of tuck that back there. It's a little bit more blue, and I may add that in once it's dried up quite a bit more. I'm going to wet one of the ends, so we get kind of a hard edge and a soft edge. More. Interesting. Now, I haven't painted clouds a whole lot, so I'm kind of driving blind here. Mixing a bit of the sage with the lime from the confection palette because the colors on the reference are quite bright, they're quite vibrant. Now I feel like we're finally getting somewhere. I think that green has helped quite a bit. You know, I have a smaller brush. This is a relatively small painting. If I've been thinking about it, I would have grabbed a smaller brush. And I'd be having a lot easier time right now trying to paint these. But alas, here we are. green is quite dark. So I think we're just going to go in with that foresty green. Just to warm it up a bit, I'm going to add a bit of our lime green, just so it kind of matches better. I want these to blend a bit, so I'm going to paint them on. Oh, red is quite a bit lighter. Some of these bottom ones, closer to the stalk or the tree trunk, are a bit darker, so I'm going to paint those in. Go wait on the other one because I do want to have a sharper kind of look to that one. That's not how it looks in the reference, but I fudged up here somewhere. I'm going to pretend we can see more of that portion of the tree. This is why you let your paint dry first, kids. I'm just so impatient. Okay, now his sweater is white, but it kind of has a pinkish cast on it right now because of the lighting. I'm gonna pick up a bit of white. And maybe just do a dab of that warmer pink. Yeah. That. Oh yeah, that was right on the money. I'm painting most of the white portion of that. Go in slightly darker right here along that line. There's more. I forget there's a word for it in like 3D, but it's those shadows that occur because objects are really, really close together. So they kind of create, it's where like the light falls off and disappears in between objects. And that's kind of what I'm trying to replicate here. Just don't want to go up too far. Still want to look fairly light in color. Okay, what to do next? The socks are kind of a bit more gray, but they're in a really similar color profile. So I think we'll just add a bit more purple to that mixture. Just dab of pink, dab of purple, just to make it a little bit cooler. Yeah, because in game they're technically gray, but again, the lighting is quite warm and quite pink. So I'm just going to do something like that. get quite a bit of fall off. Yeah, there we go. Right here where the legs overlap. There's a pretty decent shadow. Skin tone next. It's fairly orange. Actually, that orange that I used to kind of overlap the tree, I bet you if I lightened it up quite a bit, it'd already make a really, really good skin tone. And I was right. Look at that. Sometimes I do paint, and sometimes I do know what I'm talking about, but not often. So what have you guys been watching on TV? I just started on The Untamed. And I watched like 4 episodes a night for the past week, and I had to stop. I gave myself a little bit of a break yesterday, because it was like giving me weird dreams and occasionally nightmares. Because it starts off really kind of fun and easygoing, but it's getting pretty serious. It's getting pretty deep now, and I'm too invested, and it's kind of stressing me out. So, but I think here in the next day or two I'll go and pick it back up. But I just can't do it every single night because it's stressful. Do you guys have anything like that? Like a show that you just really, really like, but you just can't do it all the time? Because it's bad for your health. I'm pretty into that. Let's see. Pick up a bit more of that orange color. A bit more saturated. Kind of go right under the chin. Yeah. So there's kind of this like red light bounce up onto the bottom of the chin. Just trying to get that to look more. Too much. That's okay. We can kind of back off here. I mean, that's how it looks, though. So it looks a little bit right now that he's got something wrong with his chin, but I mean, that's what it looks like. So one of the things that'll help is if I'm able to kind of define where those eyelids are. Because eyelids are catching light. I think my paint may still be a bit too wet on the face. Probably should have waited. But again, we know how patient I am. So I'm pretty happy. I'm not getting too much of, what you call it, but basically if your paint is watered down too much, pigments is that they'll kind of go around the edges, and sometimes that's kind of an effect you want. Like it looks nice on the tree here, but other times it's kind of distracting, like down here on the beach. So I'm glad I'm not getting too much of that. That's definitely a thing I've noticed. I think it happens with paints that are grainier, which I've definitely noticed the Prima watercolors for that to be the case. So I'm not terribly shocked by that. So, alrighty. I haven't given myself a lot more spaces to paint while it's still this wet. I'll go ahead and work a little bit on that kind of bright blue. And again, I don't know if I mentioned already, but this is a design that I saw listed online. I took a screen cap of it, so I will post that up here. And if I can find the original post, I can't remember if I saw it on Twitter or on Tumblr. But I will link to that in case you are also wanting to download this super cute jacket. Oh, and custom designs are one of my few beefs with the game. Just because I was really wanting to play as a masculine character. There's plenty of clothes that are, quote unquote masculine. But they don't let you design pants. So if you're wanting to kind of custom design clothing for your male presenting villager, it's pretty difficult because all the designs are either hats or a sweater or a dress. So there's not, it's difficult to make a custom entire outfit for a more masculine look. So that was frustrating, but I know that the Animal Crossing developers, there's a lot more still coming down the pipes, it sounds like, so we shall see if that's something that they end up adding to the game or not. I can't imagine it'd be that hard, especially if it's just one of the more basic pant types. If you do a yoga pant or something that's kind of featureless as far as notions of buttons and zippers and such go. Alrighty, I like that. That would be something that I would think wouldn't be too terribly hard. And then you can have a lot more customization with outfits. I actually really like that blue. I think I'm just going to use that one straight. Maybe a little bit purple. Should really start using my smaller brushes. It's small painting, and I haven't learned my lesson. Welcome to the ASMR version of this recording. It's actually pretty cute. I'm surprised that it's turning out so good because I do not feel all that focused at the moment. And that's one of the things is I can tell whenever I'm not in a flow state while I'm arting. And for me that usually signals that I'm not focused enough and that I'm probably not going to end up liking the painting at the ending. But we're doing pretty good. I guess my instinctual art skills are still hanging in there. So let's start with the white. Actually, this stone gray is nice, and use a little bit of that and a little bit of the purple that I had going on there. Kind of purpley gray. I was just going to do the hair, and then I was actually already planning to stop to let it dry so I can continue.
Okay.
So not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
I'll meet you upstairs.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
This ended up being the perfect color for this hair. I am impressed. Don't paint with long nails, folks. They're genuinely in the way. I feel like that should be a given, but you know what? Sometimes you're just feeling extra, and I was feeling extra today, so here we are. And I am regretting. Oh, it's so cute. chose gray hair for my character. It's like my favorite anime characters tend to be the kind of whatever little gray-haired sad gremlin child. And actually one of my OCs, Mika, who is a Selkie, I obviously gave him gray hair and little kind of, they're little seal eyebrows, which I think are just so adorable. And he is the main character of one of the comics that I'm working on called Selkie Pirate, which you can learn more about on my Patreon. That's where I've been working on and posting the comics that I'm working on. That's one of my larger projects, so I'm working on a few shorter ones here first. That one's been in development for quite a while. And I'm feeling more and more confident to really start working on that story. Alrighty, so I went ahead and let this dry for a little over an hour. It's still fairly damp, but it's certainly dry enough to continue working on without having to worry about bleeding. Just kind of define where those eyelids are happening. On the top at least. Define a little bit of that face. Giving him a little bit peachier cheeks. Tab off the left side of it more, just because that is where our directional lighting is coming from, and we don't want it to be quite as dark. Let's see, let's do that dark green as well. Get back in there. It was almost a little bit purple. Add a bit more blue to it. That kind of one that has the most sort of atmospheric perspective going on. Should be this one, but I've already messed it up. That's alright. We'll just do it on this one. As long as there's variation and we kind of get a sense of depth, I think that's the most important part, in all honesty. To look a little bit less transparent in this case. Maybe just have a bit more color variation. It's a little bit too teal for my tastes. That lime green color. Yeah, there we go. I think I kind of lost the plot of making these look like leaves. Oops. So too focused on coloring it in and not focused enough on creating a depiction. There we go. It's not bad. Into that, okay. The pant and sweater colors actually dried really nice. I'm pretty happy with that. I do like the light, slightly lighter blue, just by mixing that kind of opaque indigo color and that darker. I think I'm mixing these two. Well, I think I almost need to mix these two, just to kind of really get the correct tone here. Yeah. I'm pretty pleased with that. Oh, that is pretty darn cute. I can live with that. I just wonder if I can't water it down some more and make it almost like a line art color. Nice, kind of shadowy. Yeah. I can get behind that. It's not too much, but. Detail some of those more the kind of leg bands, or the bands around the long socks here, like that. I don't want to use too much line art because it's watercolor painting. And to have line art. Let's see which one I'm gonna work on next. Oh, I got the green. Almost forgot. Hopefully, if you're looking more at these really close ones, since they're more detailed, the other ones are just in the background, so they're less detailed, because atmospheric perspective. Yeah, let's just say that. Okay, I'm gonna go for that again. If they're more enough, they should. There. I like that. Quite a lot, actually. I do like how easily these paints kind of reactivate. And they don't get all grainy upon reactivation, too. Some paints will get really grainy. And we don't like that. Pretty happy with that. Go over this nose again. A little bit warmer. And here we go. That's pretty darn cute, if I do say so myself. And the face, the lines on the face are almost black. They're like a real dark brown. I usually like to use kind of closer to a skin tone for those. I'm going to mix in a little bit of brown, maybe a little bit of purple too, just to kind of cool it down a bit. That's pretty gosh darn cute. It's a bit warmer of a wash this time. Because a good portion of that beach is pretty warm in color. More of that white. A little bit creamier. A little bit denser. Yeah, there we go. There's no shading of the tree or anything. Because of the angle that my tree is at, I do think I need to have shadow going on here. Yeah, just get a little bit darker. Base. Cool. I'm okay with that. I kind of want to do a little more to the trees, but honestly, I really like how it looks. I don't want to touch it for fear of, messing it up. Come on. Just to make sure. And we're going to do the cute little star and moon design on there. Just a smidge warmer. Yeah, there we go. It does look pretty darn cute with that. Cannot paint today, apparently. Villagers don't usually have thumbs, they usually just kind of have nubs for hands. But I want mine to be a bit more defined, so I'm going to go ahead and add some thumbs. It's at the edge of the sand. Right along here is pretty dark. So I feel like we can go ahead and add that. I have my character placed pretty far down in the composition, so I don't know that his shadow would necessarily be visible. Ooh. That periwinkle color is really on the money there. I think purple would have been better for and into that, okay. cool. Just build out some of the clouds by painting around them. I'm gonna need to do another layer. Up here a bit. I think the blue is helping quite a bit. It's helping unify it quite a bit more. It's a little messy. Cannot advocate enough, don't wear long nails while you're trying to paint. Or I guess you can if you're just really used to them. There a little bit. Just like that, show that that is all part of the sky as well. I think some of the areas look okay, and some of them look a little wonky. That's okay. I'm just gonna go right down there. You know what? I think that's all I want to do with the paint. So I think I'm going to let it dry for now. I think I'm going to go over it with some colored pencil. Actually, no, I take that back. Do a little bit of shadow on this part where the land meets the sandy beach. Just vibe that it is slanted. Yeah, I think that helps. Inside out just a smidge. Okay, now I'm calling it. I'm going to leave this and I'm going to finish up with some, oh, again I say that, one more. Little strap. I don't want it to be completely black. So mix it with a little bit of blue. It should be fairly dark though. Okay, not terrible. I think I can live with that, so I'm going to go and stop the recording from here, and I'm going to go do the other stuff off camera, and then I will show you what the final result looks like. Alrighty, and that is the final painting. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. I do really like the colors and the textures, and thank you all for hanging out and painting with me.